Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Sicilian Corner. This is Mikey, and the reason you're seeing the Sicilian Corner with that little picture, whatever you want to call it there, of myself, is I'm working out of the house today, and I'm having a little bit of a streaming problem. But the show, the highlight of the show, is our co-host, Al Letizio. Al, welcome on board, brother.
Thank you, Mike. Very happy to be here today.
You know something? You've done a few shows with me in the past, but it's been a while since you've been on with me, really. And, you know, I
thought it was something I said.
These conditions, but for our listeners out there, and by the way, I just want to add just a couple of comments. The last couple of weeks have been pretty tough on yours truly. For those of you who have bad backs, you kind of know what I mean. But the amount of people, amount of our listeners, our listening audience that have written, text, called, it's been incredible. And for those of you who have done that or even thought about doing it, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Those are the 6 words that I have for you. You made me feel really good because it's been challenging, to say the least, the last couple of weeks. But we made the turn. Things are shaping up, and we're getting back to normal. This is a challenge, and now we're going to look forward, and hopefully we can stay healthy and be on the Sicilian Corner every week in the studio with cousin Lou. How are you?
Doing very well, making it work here.
I like it. I like your style. Al, A.J. Letizio, what exactly do you do? I know there's many aspects of your company, but how would you classify your business?
Well, the heart of our business is the wholesale food business. As you know, my family is in a multi-generational business here. We've been we're in our 5th generation now in the food industry in one form or another, starting from my great uncle and who had the store in Lawrence, Mass, Verrecchia's Meat Market, to my father, Al Letizio, my grandfather, Al Letizio, my father, Al Letizio, me, and my sons, Nick Letizio and Adam Letizio, who are now the 5th generation in the business. We now, the latest iteration of our family business is we're a professional food sales agency. So we represent companies who are the best in class food producers or producers to the food industry in all channels of trade. And we sell our product throughout the Eastern United States, about 1.5 billion pounds of product in 2024.
You say 1 billion?
1.5 billion. Yep.
Wow. So your territory stretches where? From Maine to Florida?
From Maine to Florida.
Wow. Holy cow. That's unbelievable.
It's a long way from Lawrence Street, from the little market there, but same philosophy, Mike. It's the same stuff that people business.
When did you start A.J. Letizio Sales and Marketing? You and Patty.
Patty and I, 1988, September of 1988 was when we got started. Seems like not too long ago. Some days, other days, you know, it does seem like a while ago. But yeah, it's been a great trip. Been a lot of fun. Every day is like a fun new day. I was just saying to someone yesterday that it's a great feeling coming to work every day. I feel like it's my first week. It's very, very enthusiastic, and I credit my sons and the team that we have for keeping it that way. They've really kept the dream alive, and they keep the company going and growing.
What a nice legacy. You said 5th generation, so Nick and Ashley are your 5th generation, your sons, and they're taking it over.
Yes. Yep, they're doing a great job.
Isn't that nice to build a business like that and to know that it's in good hands once you're not here? I mean,
there's no better feeling. I'm a very blessed person.
Unbelievable. Your dad, everybody knows the last name Letizio. Your dad created quite a reputation for himself in the food industry, especially in the meat portion of it.
He sure did.
Agar Packing out of Boston, that was huge. You guys had a wholesale on Route 28 back in the early 70s. Was it called?
That's right. That's right. Yeah. My dad did a lot of great things in business, and I've always looked up to him and tried to emulate him in what I do. Actually, we named the company after him. That's why the company's called A.J. Letizio. And at the time I got started, nobody knew who I was, but they knew who he was. And there were some people around who still knew who my grandfather was when I got started. But time goes on, and we just carry on in that. My dad is sharp as a tack, and he's there to provide advice, and he's a great resource and a great way to keep things in perspective and keep things grounded. Speaking to him,
I have to add, and he's also still drives his motorcycle.
He sure does. He sure does. He rips up the street with his buddies out there, and they have a lot of fun. They love life. They enjoy it, every minute of it.
That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. You mentioned the Letizio name, and we're going to move on, but I just have to add the Griffin Report. You guys got picked as, in the industry, your family's name is included in that. Which to me is such an honor, because the Griffin Report, can you just explain to people what the Griffin Report is all about?
Yeah, that's a trade industry journal that circulates throughout the food industry. So they selected our family to be included among what they called the first families of the food industry. So it's a tremendous honor. My great uncle Lou was still living when that happened, so he was actually in the picture that they posted. So it's my father and myself and my great uncle Lou right before he passed when he was in his 90s. So it was a proud moment.
95 years old. I saw that picture, and I couldn't believe it. I would have never guessed in a million years that man was 95 years old.
He was fantastic, great guy. I got to know all of my grandfather's brothers and sister. I didn't get to know my grandfather. He passed away right before I was born, but I felt as though I got to know him through the stories from my dad and from my great uncles.
Well, you know something, it's quite a testimonial. I know you're in the complete food industry, but your favorite and your specialty, in my opinion, is beef. When it comes to beef, you just about know everything about it. You've experimented more than any one man that I know. Trying to marinate, between trying to age product and everything else. You've done it all. I've also had the pleasure of being in your state-of-the-art facility, and we were making sausage. I think we bought some Canadian pork. You had Canadian pork butts. And
that's right.
The two oldest guys in the room, your dad and myself, are doing all the boning, all the cutting.
Now, see, you guys both are complainers all the time, and you're starting up already. If my father was here, you'd be starting up. I asked you to pick up a knife and do one thing, and you guys, you start to get tired. You don't like it, but you're there to inspire the next generation. My kids and my grandkids are watching you guys. You can't be complaining all the time.
No, complaining. We were the only ones working. You guys did that buka. For Pete's sakes, it was.
You guys can turn out production. You guys know how to cut meat. I mean, it's fun, and that's a blast. And what you're referring to is when we get together to make the sopressata and the copa. So it's a day-long event, and we love having you there, Michael. When you're feeling better, we need you to come back again, because it's actually time to make the sopressata again. We're waiting for you. And when you come back, we're going to do it. Couple 100 pounds. We're going to we're going to get down there, and we're going to cut the meat. We're going to stuff the casings, and we're going to do the curing of the copa. It's a lot of fun.
More and more people, years ago, a lot of people used to make homemade sausage. Some of them
Yeah.
just got a little handmade funnel and they stuff it with their thumb and put it through. Some have the little machine. That seems to be something that's dying out. People aren't doing it anymore.
It's
And
sad. You know, when we were growing up, like in my neighborhood, everybody's grandfather or great grandfather had sopressata hanging in the basement. You know, so I figured everybody had that growing up. When we moved to New Hampshire and it wasn't all Italian people in the neighborhood, I couldn't believe it. Like people had catones and they had all this other stuff with like, you know, people were eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches instead of mortadella. Like I didn't get it. But yeah, everybody used to do that. And we can't let those traditions die as much as we become the American, so to speak, of that what our, you know, the first immigrants would call the people who were here. Uh, we can't forget where we came from, and that's not just the Italian culture. It's all cultures. We got to remember it's definitely e pluribus unum. From many we become one. But if we forget where we came from and we forget the traditions and the recipes and the fun stuff, then we kind of lose something there.
you know, there's so much processed food, and people buy so much processed food. It's such a pleasure. You know, before we went on the air, I was talking about I love to make chicken soup. I love to make beef stew. I enjoy it. It gives me, even no matter how bad I am. I mean, to me it gives me a lot of pleasure, and it's very rewarding. And I try to eat as much homemade product as I possibly. You know, making the sauce. You know, the meatballs and the sausage and the pork butt.
Yeah.
I love all that, and it seems now that it's not happening. It's getting, people are on the rush all the time. They're busy.
Yeah.
They want it. They go out. They buy this already pre-cooked, or they buy this and that. And I don't know. I wish we could go back to a little bit further back and do a lot more at home. I know everybody's working two jobs now. Just a husband and wife both have to work, and you know, when we were kids, that wasn't the norm. Usually, the mother stayed home and took care. But today, the food costs creepers. You have a family. If you're four people and you have to walk into a supermarket, I don't know how people are doing it. I really don't.
You know, you don't have to spend a lot of money though to make a great meal. And if you think about some of the food that makes you feel happy and makes you feel good or brings you back to your childhood, this was stuff that was made by our grandparents, our great grandparents. These people didn't have a lot of resources, they didn't have a lot of money, you know, and they oftentimes were just working with the products that were the byproducts of everything that was left over after the wealthy people took the cuts that they wanted. So whether it's the pork trimmings or the pig's feet or the bellies or whatever it was that was of secondary value, those are the things that went into the treasured recipes that give you those flavors. I mean, the meatballs, you know, you had asked me about this earlier. Everybody's out there trying to get this expensive hamburger and, you know, 90% lean or grass-fed product. You know, you try to make a meatball out of that, it's going to be awful. You got to get the stuff that our grandparents had. It's a chuck, you know, a nice fat content, you know, 30%, 25 to 30% fat content. That's what's going to give you the adhesion of making the meatball and having it stick together. It's going to give you the flavor. It's going to permeate into the sauce. I mean, that's what it comes down to. It doesn't have to be expensive.
No, you know something, to me, Chuck Hittenberg, you can't beat it, especially for flavor. You mentioned.
I have to say though, Patty, this year for our anniversary, I got her a dozen jumbo eggs, and she was very happy with that. It was more money than the roses.
They're like $1.20 an egg. More money than the roses, but they last a lot longer. You buy fresh roses now. You know, you spend $9,500. You take them home. You give them as a gift, a present, anniversary, or whatever the case. In 2 days, they're dying.
That's right.
I don't know why. Stuff just doesn't seem to last.
And I don't want to give the wrong impression. I didn't pay for the eggs all at once. I put something down. I'm paying a little bit every week to pay for it.
I don't believe you for a nanosecond. I don't believe you for a nanosecond. But again, I really do want to say it's a pleasure to have you on with me, and I owe you big time, because last week's show, I had to cancel it and have people fill in for me, and you were scheduled to be on that. Then I said to you, you know, we're going to do it remotely the following week, and you said, no problem, whatever. But I know
Mike, anything for you, my friend. Anything. As a matter of fact, I was supposed to be with Governor Ayotte. I told her, I says, Mike Lamazzo has rescheduled. I'm really sorry. I got to jump off this call and get on with Mike and Louie. So she understood.
Lou, do you believe that?
I do believe it, actually. And Kelly would say okay because she likes us.
She would.
She's good people. Al is into
Let me tell you, Kelly knows how to eat too. I've been out with her eating Italian food. And here's a woman who, exemplary governor, an athlete. I've run with her. I've run road races with her. It's no nonsense. Okay. It's not, she's not out there shaking hands. She's going and she's getting, you know, she moves. But when we're done, I sat down with her at Ralphie's restaurant. I mean, she has a plate of the cavatellis, the meatballs. We got the sausage going. I mean, you know, she loves it. The cutlets. I mean, she loves to eat. She loves food, but she stays in great shape. She, you know, mentally and physically in top condition. But she loves to eat and she loves it. Good Italian food.
That's great. Hey, listen, I'm up against the break. We're going to listen to some of our commercials and some of our great sponsors, and we'll come back. We're going to talk about a project that's going on right in your neighborhood that's very, very important. And I love history. In Lawrence, we have a place called Den Rock, and I grew up in there, crawling through those caves and everything else. So this is an interesting segment, and we're going to talk about that when we come back. So stay with us, everybody. We're going to come back with Al Letizio.
Ciao, this is Esther of You, Me, and Sicily. I want to talk to you about Tommy Amin and the great staff at Butcher Boy Market. Families, foodies, and home chefs come together at Butcher Boy to talk good food and create traditions. They offer the best in quality cuts of beef, pork, lamb, poultry, and restaurant-style steaks and chops. Produce? All of their produce is hand-selected to complement any meal or even to make it your main course. Their deli serves fresh roast beef, turkey, and beautiful imported Italian cold cuts, cheeses, and antipasto. And don't forget the Butcher Boy Bakery, featuring sweet delectables from all over the state, as well as their very own bakery. That's Butcher Boy, where the secret to a great steak is, of course, the steak. Located at 1077 Osgood Street in North Andover, Massachusetts, in the Butcher Boy Plaza. Ciao!
This is Tom Zappala. Located in the heart of downtown Haverhill, the Haverhill Beef Company is a full-service, old-fashioned butcher shop and meat market that continues to be a valued family tradition since 1952. Peter and Monica Carboni's Haverhill Beef offers individualized service from an outstanding selection of marinated sirloin tips, homemade sausage, marinated chicken, and thick, juicy Chairman Reserve steaks. Your family deserves the best, so call Peter at 978-374-4795 or visit their website at www.haverhillbeef.com.
When you dine at Ristorante Melisse in Amesbury, Massachusetts, you feel at home while enjoying an authentic Italian dining experience not to be forgotten. From the appetizer to dessert, you won't regret your choice. Bring your cravings and appetites. They promise you won't leave hungry or without leftovers for the next day. Takeout and catering are also available. Give them a call or visit them online for the menu, online ordering, and reservations. RistoranteMelisse.com. That's RistoranteMolise.com or call 978-388-4844. Ristorante Melisse, where you're treated like family. Legacy Care Law Firm provides estate planning and elder law services to people in the greater Merrimack Valley and southern New Hampshire areas with offices in North Andover and Woburn, Massachusetts, as well as Nashua and Salem, New Hampshire. Discussing family and financial matters with an attorney can be intimidating, but our goal is to help you prepare for the future as you preserve your legacy. We help clients qualify for government medical benefits and ensure their estates are preserved for their families so they don't need to worry about their estate being wiped out by high nursing home expenses. Legacy Care Law Firm attorneys are here to support your journey toward a more secure financial future.
At Catadella Funeral Home, we reinvest in our business to provide your family with the best facilities. It begins with a beautifully landscaped exterior, parking for 250 vehicles, and a comfortable and inviting access to our renovated interior. Funerals can be costly, so you should review and compare plans to make sure you receive services that are fairly priced. I invite you to experience the Catadella difference in cost, facility, and service.
Catadella's, honoring and celebrating the lives of the people we loved, providing exceptional care since 1929.
Italian artisan cuisine combines simple, fresh ingredients with time-honored preparation to create an incredible culinary experience. At Tuscan Kitchen, located in Salem's historic Depot District, talented chefs prepare everything in-house from scratch for all to see. Guests enjoy their meal literally in our kitchen as food is prepared right in front of you. Wood ovens burn from morning till night, roasting vegetables, baking bread, and firing delightful thin-crust pizzas. Prime steaks are seared on a wood grill. A rotisserie slowly roasts marinated whole chickens and lamb, while a pasta maker creates fresh fettuccine. More than just artisan cuisine, Tuscan Kitchen features the wine bar, live entertainment, weekly wine tastings, and elegant private dining and event space. Call 603-952-4875 or visit TuscanKitchen.com to make a reservation and learn more about the culinary adventure that awaits. In Italy, cooking is an art form. Tuscan Kitchen. Experience artisan Italian.
Orthopedics Northeast and Essex Orthopedics have joined forces as Mobility Bone and Joint Institute to bring improved access and outstanding medical care. While our name has changed, our dedication to exceptional care remains the same as it has for the past 30 years. Same location, 16 Pelham Road, Salem, New Hampshire.
This is Cindy
and Mike Kunstler,
owners and operators of Four Oaks Country Club and Grazie Italian Restaurant in Drake, Massachusetts.
Grazie Italian Restaurant is the hidden gem of the Merrimack Valley.
Why is that?
We have an incredible chef, Oscar Figueroa.
In the words of local famous chef and restaurant owner Lydia Shire,
Oscar thrives on hard work.
He is capable and gifted.
No one makes better food. Scallops, seared to perfection.
House-made ravioli with farm-fresh local corn.
And buttery tender Lazy Man's lobster, just to name a few.
You have to come experience Grazie Italian Restaurant for yourself.
Grazie Italian Restaurant, located at Four Oaks Country Club, 80 Meadow Creek Drive in Drake, Massachusetts. Hope to see you soon.
After those commercials, you must be hungry.
I'm starving.
We're very fortunate. We've got some terrific sponsors. And I'll tell you, every time I look at and go through that list and watch the commercials, my stomach growls a little bit, you know. I'd like to sink my teeth into a nice ribeye that's been aged for about 30, 35 days or so. Anyway, I mentioned there's something very important that has a lot of history involved with it. And it's right in your neighborhood, right on the same road that you're on. And your facility, by the way, is really the gateway to the community of Windham, New Hampshire. I mean, you come off 93, you go left on 111. It stands out. It's a shining light. If you're getting on 93 heading south, you're going to see it on your right-hand side. The tower that's there, Al, I know you're into history. You love history. You want to preserve history. That tower is a replica of what?
That tower is a replica of a tower that was built by Edward Searles back at the beginning of the 20th century here in Windham. And my great-grandfather worked on a crew with a lot of other Italian immigrants, worked for Mr. Searles throughout Methuen, through his development there, all the way up through Salem and into Windham, where he built his summer place up here, which is now called Searles Castle. So they had a tower that they had built that's actually still in existence, but kind of in a bit of disrepair and not visible to the general public. So when the I-93 widening project was happening and they relocated Route 111 at Exit 3, we built a replica of the tower and put it up so it was a visible thing. It actually is a celebration of Mr. Searles and the Italian immigrant people who worked for him when he was constructing all this stuff that was early beautification of Windham. So my great grandfather Miguel worked for him, and throughout time, a lot of these people who worked for him really felt as though Mr. Searles helped put food on everyone's table back then, who were people who were just starting out, first generation in this country. So this is a little bit of a give back and an homage to him. We named it after my great grandfather, and there's a little story behind it, and we're trying to keep the history alive with that.
I love it. I love it. Now, the newest part of history that you're trying to preserve is in regards to when the community of Windham was first occupied by the Indians, correct?
Yes, yeah, and that's our latest project. I'm very happy about something that we put together, and it's going to be happening here beginning in the next few weeks. Right nearby where that tower is probably Windham's most important historic artifact, something called Indian Rock. And people probably have heard of Indian Rock, or they've certainly heard of Indian Rock Road. Route 111 is Indian Rock Road. It's named after this artifact, and it goes back to the first human settlers who were in this area. It's the first trace of human inhabitants. It's an outcropping of rock that has marks in it where you can see people have been milling grain and corn for hundreds of years. Sharpening of tools. It was a little outpost overlooking what's now Cobbett's Pond, and it's been largely forgotten, kind of in the middle of the woods. In the 1930s, they put a plaque on it. They designed the town crest after it. It has a historic marker, but the town really hasn't done anything about it. Most people don't really know about it. So we are actually, myself and some friends, put together something we call the Indian Rock Park Foundation. And we're about to break ground on a $1.1 million project, totally donated to the town. So not a dollar of taxpayer money is spent on this. But we're building a solid granite amphitheater that'll seat 300 people. And it's meant to be an outdoor classroom for students or theater presentations or community events. And it's really, really cool. It's in the woods under the trees, but built into a natural berm. It'll be almost like Shakespeare's half-round theater, totally natural and meant to stand the test of time, made out of solid granite. So we're very happy to be bringing Indian Rock Park and the concept to life here in the next upcoming weeks.
And yourself, Patty, and your family, and 7 other families starting this 501c3. And
yes,
you know something. That's fantastic. I mean, today, nobody wants to do anything unless there's something in it for them. And to be able to have something like this, the history, everything about it, you know, you got Cobbett's Pond right across the way. I can see the Indian, you know, we're fortunate out. You and I live really close together. And
yes,
between Cannibal Lake and between Cobbett's Pond, I mean, there's so much history and there was so much Indian civilization here. The artifacts that are being found constantly between arrowheads and whatnot. And now you talk about this rock that was used for milling, and the holes that are actually there. If you could go back in time, you would see people on a sunny afternoon making grain out of their corn. I mean, goosebumps.
Now I have to tell you, the indentation in the rock is a perfect size to make a cabagolo in there, but you know, that's another story. But yeah, it's really interesting. And the funny thing about it is, you know, we live in the day that we're in right now. So we think about things in terms of what's going on. So when the I-93 widening project was happening here a few years back, the state came in and purchased a bunch of land around here that they thought they might use in some way or another for this construction project and the relocation of the Exit 3 area. So they bought that land. They took it by eminent domain, I should say, from the owners. And you know what was funny, Mike, is the owners, the Dinsmore family, had bought that land from the Reverend Cobbett in 1741. So when they bought it, George Washington was 9 years old or thereabouts. I mean, that's how far back, and they owned it the entire time. The Dinsmore family owned that land for 260 years. All the way up through different country, a country forming, a state forming, a county forming, and it was only until the state took it away by eminent domain. So we actually ended up, when I was on the board of selectmen, we made a deal to acquire back that little parcel that had the Indian Rock on it, so it wouldn't be destroyed. And then recently, my family bought adjacent land to that from the state, and we're contributing that to add on to the Indian Rock parcel to be able to house this great amphitheater out there.
How about parking, Al? Because that's kind of a narrow street, narrow road.
Yep.
Would there be a place for, like, if the kids want to take a project from school and the teachers want to take them there, they go and buy school bus, will there be a place to park?
Yes, it's designed into it. And a matter of fact, now we host the third grade students every year at our place to give them a little history lesson about Indian Rock and the tower that you talked about, just to tell them a little bit about, what the different symbols are in the crest of their town, what they mean and what the history is. I mean, it's all right there on that street. There's so much of it that's right there. And, we've arranged so that you can park buses sufficient for 300 students to all come at once. So you can bring a whole grade of students over there.
Wow.
And also we have our two buildings that have parking for 110 cars right next door. So, we've had our car show down there, as you know, our annual charity car show, and we'll bring 2,000 people down there for that event. And people park there and over at the Castleton Function Hall and just walk over. So it's a really nice little area to walk around and hang around. The parking's going to be no problem. At some point in time, kids will be able to ride their bikes on sidewalks all the way here.
Wow.
So we're working on that as well.
This is kind of a secret, really. Not many people are aware of the Rock, the Indian Rock, and in the history behind it. So to me, I love this kind of stuff. You were talking about Ed Searles, and he had a path that he used to ride his horse from Methuen all the way up to Wyndham. I mean,
yes,
it is amazing, what went on back in the day, not too long ago, really.
And it was his improvement, Searles' improvement of that path that you're talking about, that turned into Rockingham Road, which turned into Route 28.
That's right.
So that pathway all the way up was something that was battened down and improved by him.
Yeah, no, and he gave so many people work when there was none.
That's true.
Hiring Italian artisans and having people, the masons, and everybody had their strong suit. And to me, I think it's fantastic. The city of Methuen, to me, what's there that he built with his wife's money,
yes,
is just phenomenal, and stuff that should be cherished and preserved for historical reasons. And
that's true. He could have spent that money in many other different ways, and the large part of what he did was giving back to his community and neighboring communities and beautification efforts. So that's the example we all have to take now. So people ask why we're doing this. Think back to what that guy did. This, what we're doing is a small thing, but I'm trying to follow an example, and I'm trying to honor a guy like that who was there for my great grandparents. Also to take a look at this thing that's nearby that, as you say, people don't know what the heck it is. They know Indian Rock Road, but I ask everybody, hey, what's Indian Rock? They don't really know. Well, that's not going to be happening anymore. Everybody will know about this, and this will be a chance to bring this to the forefront. Hey, you never know. We could actually do a remote hookup there and broadcast the Sicilian Corner from there sometime.
Don't tease me. Don't tease. Louis right now, he's wringing his hands. If I could see him in the studio, he'd be going, I'd love that. I'd love that.
Sounds
Louis,
like fun.
when we're baking the bread in our kitchen, you'd be able to smell it at the Indian Rock.
Nice.
From there, coming out of the oven.
But you'd bring the bread, right?
I'd bring the bread.
Real quickly, Al, I want you to tell Lou about your media center, because he's into this kind of stuff huge. tell exactly how many people can you sit in your media center?
Yeah, we've had 150 people in that room, but when we have it set up classroom style, it's usually about 100, little less than 100. But the cool thing about it, and Louis would appreciate this, is we have offices in New York City and Philadelphia and Rochester, New York, and Glastonbury, Connecticut. So we have teams out in those areas as well. And when we're doing a demonstration or something in our kitchen, we've got 5 high definition cameras zooming in from above and from all different angles. And we're trying to pick up on the nuances of a preparation or of a menu item or an ingredient or an attribute of a product. And we're able to communicate it through the screen so that everybody who's listening in or participating remotely from our other locations can live participate and appreciate what's going on. Now, you can't smell the bread cooking. I haven't figured out how to do that yet, but you can see it. You can see the steam coming off it, and you can break it apart. And I mean, you really, the sensory aspects of the food industry, which are a very important part of it, and the physics of it, and the chemistry of it, is something that the detail has to be communicated. So that media center, so just that section of the building is over $1 million investment, and wow. It's really cool. And it's also the kitchen, so it's a fun place to hang out. And that's where Mike and my dad are down there cutting the pork and busting my cogliones down there.
You know, I'm looking forward to it. The only thing is, we're not going to bring any sambuca. You know, we want you guys to concentrate on what's going on. You know,
that's right.
Another break. We're going to come back. We've been with me till noontime, and I want a couple of things I need to ask you. People want to know about marinades. Is it necessary?
I can't wait. I got something you're going to love. Okay. You're going to love it.
All right. Stay tuned, everybody. We're going to be right back.
Ciao, this is Esther of You, Me, and Sicily. I want to talk to you about Tommy Amin and the great staff at Butcher Boy Market. Families, foodies, and home chefs come together at Butcher Boy to talk good food and create traditions. They offer the best in quality cuts of beef, pork, lamb, poultry, and restaurant-style steaks and chops. Produce? All of their produce is hand-selected to complement any meal or even to make it your main course. Their deli serves fresh roast beef, turkey, and beautiful imported Italian cold cuts, cheeses, and antipasto. And don't forget the Butcher Boy Bakery, featuring sweet delectables from all over the state, as well as their very own bakery. That's Butcher Boy, where the secret to a great steak is, of course, the steak. Located at 1077 Osgood Street in North Andover, Massachusetts, in the Butcher Boy Plaza. Ciao!
This is Tom Zappala. Located in the heart of downtown Haverhill, the Haverhill Beef Company is a full-service, old-fashioned butcher shop and meat market that continues to be a valued family tradition since 1952. Peter and Monica Carboni's Haverhill Beef offers individualized service from an outstanding selection of marinated sirloin tips, homemade sausage, marinated chicken, and thick, juicy Chairman Reserve steaks. Your family deserves the best, so call Peter at 978-374-4795 or visit their website at www.haverhillbeef.com.
Sisters and co-owners Antoinetta and Elisa brought their family authentic Italian recipes from Molise, Italy, and a warm and welcoming dining experience to its customers at Ristorante Molise. The combination of their meals made from natural, homemade, fresh ingredients, and your time with family and friends together at dinner time is unmatched. Located in Market Square in the heart of Amesbury, they're open for dinner Tuesday through Sunday from 3 to 9 p.m. and are available for private parties during off hours. For reservations, call them at 978-388-4844. That's 978-388-4844. Legacy Care Law Firm provides estate planning and elder law services to people in the greater Merrimack Valley and southern New Hampshire areas, with offices in North Andover and Woburn, Massachusetts, as well as Nashua and Salem, New Hampshire. Discussing family and financial matters with an attorney can be intimidating, but our goal is to help you prepare for the future as you preserve your legacy. We help clients qualify for government medical benefits and ensure their estates are preserved for their families so they don't need to worry about their estate being wiped out by high nursing home expenses. Legacy Care Law Firm attorneys are here to support your journey toward a more secure financial future.
At Catadella Funeral Home, we reinvest in our business to provide your family with the best facilities. It begins with a beautifully landscaped exterior, parking for 250 vehicles, and a comfortable and inviting access to our renovated interior. Funerals can be costly, so you should review and compare plans to make sure you receive services that are fairly priced. I invite you to experience the Catadella difference in cost, facility, and service.
Catadella's honoring and celebrating the lives of the people we loved, providing exceptional care since 1929.
Italian artisan cuisine combines simple, fresh ingredients with time-honored preparation to create an incredible culinary experience. At Tuscan Kitchen, located in Salem's historic Depot District, talented chefs prepare everything in-house from scratch for all to see. Guests enjoy their meal literally in our kitchen as food is prepared right in front of you. Wood ovens burn from morning till night, roasting vegetables, baking bread, and firing delightful thin-crust pizzas. Prime steaks are seared on a wood grill. A rotisserie slowly roasts marinated whole chickens and lamb, while a pasta maker creates fresh fettuccine. More than just artisan cuisine, Tuscan Kitchen features the wine bar, live entertainment, weekly wine tastings, and elegant private dining and event space. Call 603-952-4875 or visit TuscanKitchen.com to make a reservation and learn more about the culinary adventure that awaits. In Italy, cooking is an art form. Tuscan Kitchen. Experience artisan Italian.
Orthopedics Northeast and Essex Orthopedics have joined forces as Mobility Bone and Joint Institute to bring improved access and outstanding medical care. While our name has changed, our dedication to exceptional care remains the same as it has for the past 30 years. Same location, 16 Pelham Road, Salem, New Hampshire.
This is Cindy,
And Mike Kunstler.
owners and operators of Four Oaks Country Club and Grazie Italian Restaurant in Drake, Massachusetts.
Grazie Italian Restaurant is the hidden gem of the Merrimack Valley.
Why is that?
We have an incredible chef, Oscar Figueroa.
In the words of local famous chef and restaurant owner Lydia Shire,
Oscar thrives on hard work.
he is capable and gifted.
No one makes better food. Scallops, seared to perfection.
House-made ravioli with farm-fresh local corn.
And buttery, tender, lazy man's lobster, just to name a few.
You have to come experience Grazie Italian Restaurant for yourself.
Grazie Italian Restaurant, located at Four Oaks Country Club, 80 Meadow Creek Drive in Drake, Massachusetts. Hope to see you soon.
And the biggest question that comes up is, should I marinate or shouldn't I marinate? Should I tenderize or shouldn't I tenderize? And Al, what do you have to say about that?
Mike, this is almost a what I have to tell you now is almost like a public service announcement. Okay, so everybody, you got to take your pencils out. I'm going to hijack the message a little bit. I don't know if you heard a little bit, but with our new Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert Kennedy, coming in, the focus is on health, right? But I got it, and you've heard that Shake Shack has recently taken away this particular seed oil that they're going to make their famous French fries in, and they're going to use beef tallow, right? Now, if you think back, Mike, to a younger time, you had the Marcus Welby doctors telling us, beef fat with saturated fats was no good for you, right? Pork fat, beef fat, no good. You got to go with these seed oils. Well, the problem is the seed oils are not good for us. All the stuff we've been eating is not good for us. So we're going back to the things that tasted good. My great-grandmother used to make scrambled eggs, and they tasted so good because she made them with the anzonia, if you remember that, which was essentially rendered pork fat. She had a can of it on the counter, and it had the rendered pork fat in it. Nothing got wasted. So I'm going to tell you today that to make a great meal, and people, you need to write this down. You can go to our friend Joe Farrow's place and get the most amazing prime steak. Okay. And that's absolutely great. But you can spend a fraction of that at your home and feed your family if you go to the store and buy some chuck. Go to Butcher Boy and ask them for some chuck meat and some shank meat. Now, most people would say, well, geez, that's so tough. How are you going to eat it? Well, the method of cooking it is all that has to change. And this is what the people had done when they didn't have a lot of money. You braise, look it up, braise the meat. It's a long cooking process. And through that process, it unlocks the tenderizing part of the meat. So this meat has a lot of flavor, but is tough to chew. If you braise it, you break down all the collagen and connective tissues, and you make this stuff taste absolutely unbelievable. And that is what you need to do. Now, when you do that, you when you're through the process of braising, you have this cook-off of broth. So write this down. This is very important. You take that broth and you separate it using a fat separator, and the fat that comes out of there is called your tallow. I have some tallow in the house here, Mike. I made scrambled eggs with it this morning instead of using oil or butter. Yep. I'm going to tell you something. It was absolutely unbelievable. Slight taste of prime rib with my scrambled eggs, but wow. I know that I'm doing something healthy for my body, and it's made with pure white beef tallow. And then the remaining thing that cooks off from there is the broth that you use to make anything. You concentrate that broth down, and you have really the melted connective tissues and the melted collagen. And that's where all the flavor comes from that you put in your gravies or put in any type of recipe. And you keep a little concentrate of that. And you don't have to go buy beef bouillon. You have your own beef bouillon, and you cook the water out of it, and then you got your tallow. So I'm going to tell you right there, go buy some inexpensive cuts of meat like that, and you'll unlock flavor and you'll unlock quality that your family will love at a fraction of the price. And then you'll end up with some nice beef tallow to fry your eggs in, or I wouldn't put it on my toast, but anything that you'd use oil for, you melt some of that in the pan. It's absolutely sensational.
That's a great tip. Not only that, Al, when you're cooking, say, a pot roast, piece of chuck, and chuck is the best. Some people like top round. Some people get the bottom round. You can do the same thing, but the chuck has really got the flavor. It's just a wonderful, wonderful cut of meat, especially if you cook it slow. And plus, the house is going to smell so good. The house smells wonderful.
That's right. And I love doing it in cast iron cookware. So you have a cast iron pot. You get that thing going in there. You just heat it up on the stove. You actually take some of that tallow, and you take the tallow from the last time, and you put it in the bottom of the pan, and then you heat it up. And you don't have to heat it up a lot. That's the interesting thing. This has a very low flash point, so you don't have to heat it up a lot like you do the seed oil, and everything's burning and spattering. At a low temp, this thing, now you put your beef in there, and the beef browns, and you get that nice Maillard effect of the caramelizing of the sugars of the beef. You put that you leave it right in that same pot, and you take reconstitute some of your essence from the last time. You put some water in there. You put it right in the oven for 3.5 or 4 hours, and you're right, fills the house with a beautiful smell. When that comes out, you're eating the beef with a fork. You're pulling out. You don't even need a knife to pull it apart. Absolutely delicious. And then when you're done, you take the juice out of there, and you boil the water off it again, and you separate the fat, and you still have your tallow, and you still have all of the essence, and it actually even gets better with time.
Yeah. When you mentioned about it just falling apart, a piece of beef is just falling apart, I actually put between a 5.5 to 6 pound pork butt in my sauce, along with the meatballs and the sausage. And that thing will cook for 4 hours or so. And when I get that pork butt, they fight for it. When I put it, we have 2 tables set up. One niece will come up to me and say, they got a bigger piece of pork butt than I did, But
that's right. I mean, that's the essence of an Italian sauce, is you got your chuck in there and you got your pork butt in there. You got to have it. If you don't have either one, I don't even want to eat it. I don't know. It's not the same to me.
I don't know who you are. That's all.
My great grandmother used to put the pig's foot in there, and people think that that's barbaric now. But let me tell you something. I'm going to sit you down, and you have a nice glass of Italian wine, have some some macaroni, and we'll have a little piece of pig's foot. You'll never go back. It's absolutely delicious.
You know, my wife Lucille and her father, I couldn't stand watching them. I mean, they'd have sauce all over them. I mean, they got so into it. It was never my favorite, but I didn't really give it a shot either. You know what I mean? But my father-in-law, he swore by it. And
I wrote it down, Mike. I'm going to make that for you when you come over. We're going to have pig's feet together.
Cholesterol be damned. That's what
There we go.
Okay, marinades. Do you have a special marinade that you use?
I like to do a lot with dry rubs.
Okay.
So I definitely prefer a dry rub, and for the reason that oftentimes when I'm cooking, I'm trying to get that finish on the outside of the meat, and I find that if I start with something wet, you crank the heat up, and the heat is just trying to evaporate that moisture, and you never get that nice browning when it's soaking wet like that. So I like a dry rub for that reason. I don't have to kill the meat on the outside. I can sear it, and I get the nice flavor in there.
I think a good char is very important on any kind of meat. I
Definitely.
I think people have a tendency to turn their steaks way too often on the grill, and they don't really let that char really develop. You're better off, maybe peeking at it a little bit, but let the thing sit 3-4 minutes. Then
Mike, Patty came up with this method that you would not believe, and I have to tell you, I was very skeptical about this, but I've been totally amazed. You take a beautiful, nice prime steak and freeze it, leave it in the freezer. You decide I want to have some, I want to have that for dinner tonight. Well, you don't want to go through the whole process of thawing that out, and you don't want to thaw it too fast.
Right.
We put it in the air fryer, frozen in the air fryer.
No.
I'm going to tell you something. You take that steak out of there, I would put that up against anything from Capital Grill. It sears it all the way around on all sides. It makes it beautiful. It locks in the flavor, and the inside is cooked perfectly. I think it was 11, 12 minutes maybe in the air fryer from frozen.
Jeez.
Absolutely blow your mind. Blow your mind.
You know something, that's a wonderful tip. Oh my God, I never even would have thought of that. And
Mike, you got to realize there's sugars in this meat. The fat has sugar in it. So instead of adding all these topical marinades and stuff like that, if you just activate the sugar that's in there, that's what's happening. When you put it in that air fryer, the sugar is caramelizing. It's browning, and that's what's giving you all the flavor. That entire outer surface has what they call the Maillard effect of the caramelization of the sugars. So now you lock in that nice marbling, because it's a nice prime steak on the inside, and on the outside you got it nice and crispy and browned, and it's just beautifully flavored, and you can smell it cooking. I mean, it's a little salt and a little pepper. That's it.
Easy, Al. You're getting excited.
It's too easy, Mike.
You're gonna need a cigarette.
we complicate our lives with some of this stuff too much.
I agree. I'm a meat purist. I
know you are. Nobody knows it better than you.
I don't use marinade, because if you're buying a good quality piece of meat, you really shouldn't. You don't need it. You really don't need it. Get the true flavor of the beef itself. Aged beef. What do you think about aged beef? You and I many years ago got together, and I told you about a steakhouse in Connecticut up at Foxwoods, David Burke's, and I told you about their salt brick aging process, and that they had applied for permits for it, patents for it. And lo and behold, that conversation led to you having one of your personnel strip apart a cooler, and you bought some Himalayan salt brick. And
I did. You were right.
And what that stuff is amazing. It is absolutely amazing.
Thank you. I don't have many original ideas, Mike, but when you have an idea, I'm writing it down and I do it. And you're right. We created a dry aging case.
I have another one for you. Now,
okay, go ahead.
I know you only use charcoal, right?
I'm actually believe you're going to find this crazy, but I have a commercial electric smoker and slow cooker in the backyard, and I do propane. But I go with the electric because I can control it on a long cook. If I'm doing, there are times that I'll do like a 14, 16-hour cook. And I just don't want to be out there in the middle of the night throwing the charcoal in there and putting my gauge in there and everything. I can control the humidity. I can control the temperature with electric thermostating and still burn the wood in there. So I don't know. That's a lot of people think that who are purists don't think that's a good idea, but that's what I do.
You still have the hat with the light on it so you could be out there at midnight? No.
You bet I do.
If you're trying to get, and this goes for our listening audience, if you're trying to get charcoal to ignite, instead of spraying all that liquid fluid over, because that stuff stays and stays and stays, the starter fluid, get a nice handful of Doritos and light the Doritos. Wow. It'll start that charcoal up in a heartbeat.
Wow.
It's one of the best igniters you could use. No afters, no smell, no nothing. And boy, I'll tell you, it'll get that charcoal white. So there you go, my friend. You heard it here first on the
I wrote it down.
Radio show. There you go. Al, we're ready to close out the show. Again, thank you. I can't wait to get you in the studio. I know Louis says, what do you mean he's coming on remotely? That's what he said to me.
I got the shakes. I didn't cook for Louis this morning. I didn't bring any prosciutto or bread.
I was not happy. I wanted to see Al.
I feel like a failure.
You're a member of the Sicilian Corner podcast family. You know it. I know it. And I always look forward to seeing you. And
thank you,
guy. Thank you very much for taking the time out. And have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And to all our listening audience, thank you very much for joining us today. We will be back. We will be back in the studio somehow. No, I'm only kidding. We'll be back in the studio next week. And I think Esther is going to join us, Louis, from Sicily.
Excellent.
We're looking forward to that. Listen, have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Stay safe. Enjoy. Let the sun come out. Spring is right around the corner. Take care, everybody. Thanks, Al.
Ciao.